So, today on the Soundiron podcast, we are covering a lot of ground. We are going to be talking about the Soundiron Creator Challenge Halloween edition. We're going to be talking about hardware companies making plugins. We're going to be talking about ad copy AI tools that you can use and copywriting tips. Craig, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so we'll start with the Soundiron Creator Challenge. We have an AI generated video that we made, or we got a computer to make for us.
Yeah. We commissioned the thing that's going to potentially wipe us out on Earth to create this horrific visual.
We forced a graphics card to do our bidding.
Yes.
And the one thing that it needs is music. It has no music. And so you just created your own cue as an example. And I wanted to talk to you about how you start a cue when you're working with a video.
Yeah. So that was really fun. I mean, for me, it's always fun when I get to do some creepy music, as it's like about 90% of what I usually like to do anyway. So with this, it was really easy. I mean, like, since the graphics or like the visuals are pretty like, because there's like these morphing hands. Like, it starts off with this like image from 6-7, just like bloody hand, and just kind of like morphs, and really pretty disturbing visuals. Usually with certain things, you kind of start to get an idea right away. Sometimes not as quick, but I think like with this, I was able to kind of like connect with it pretty quickly.
So you just watch it by itself and just kind of take it in.
Yeah, so what I did is I just loaded up a bunch of different horror libraries that we have, like a lot of the sick stuff. Like we've been updating more and more of the sick libraries, so I wanted to incorporate some of those. Usually, well, I could tell you like what I did for this one. I just started off with, I just found an ambience from Sick 2, and I just wanted to just start hearing something and seeing the visuals with sound, because then you once you start doing that, you start being able to see what works and what doesn't. So yeah, I was just like starting with like a, just like a really cool ambience and kind of like setting the tone. And then from there, starting, adding some other instruments. I used some of Iron Throne, because there's some really cool, like big kind of percussion in there that just sounds like kind of metal and clanky. Some of the visuals, it almost looks like it's in this kind of weird, I don't know, like some underground, just like creepy area. Like, I was even using some of the music box.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed when I was doing that, because music boxes, when you think of that in horror, like, it is very kind of typical. I was like, it just sounds a little too much like, because when you hear that, you think of like an old, like creepy doll or something being in the room, and a little kid, being scared or something. So what I started kind of doing was like, because when I was thinking about it, if you've seen the video, it almost looks like this like nightmare almost. And I was just thinking, like, if this was like a kid's nightmare or something, and like using the music box, and I started playing around with this reverse delay plugin that I have, and it almost like takes it and like takes this thing that usually sounds kind of, in whatever context you use, sounds very, could sound pretty or whatever, just like a little music box. So I like took this melody that I made and threw it through all that. So then it just sounded kind of like completely like contorted, and just like now it sounds a little bit more scary, like, because nightmares usually are very like interpreting things that and just like doing all kinds of twisted stuff with it.
Yeah, it almost sounded like the notes are like flying past you, just like
Yeah.
whoomp, whoomp.
Yeah, because you have these visuals of like morphing and like doing all this crazy stuff. So it's almost like I wanted the music box to almost kind of represent a little bit of that, which is that really twisted kind of taking something that it's will show like faces and hands, and it's all contorted. So it's like taking some of those sounds and contorting them too. And then towards the end of the cue, it kind of changes a little bit, gets a little bit more Halloweeny, sort of like, using some strings and brass and stuff to play these kind of like darker melodies, because I felt like as it was going along, there's only so much just kind of like twisted sound design and just eerie sounds that you can do, to where it's just like, all right, like, what now? Because the
Yeah.
visuals start turn a little bit more like old, like Sleepy Hollow or something. So I wanted to have it kind of almost shift into this musical thing. But it was really fun, not really knowing what I wanted to do with it, but as I was kind of just putting stuff on the videos, like, things just start kind of coming to you.
Yeah, and it's less than 2 minutes, and you can compose your own piece. Even if you don't enter the competition, you can still use the video to practice scoring, which is a great exercise.
Yeah, or if you just want to, share your stuff with people, all we're asking is download it, compose an original piece of music to it, a new original piece. Not just throwing on something you already had, like
Yeah,
actually.
don't pull something out from 4th grade that you think is cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead and compose something new for it.
Yeah, don't be that person. You gotta start from scratch on this. Upload it to YouTube, #Soundiron Creator Challenge, and then we'll see those, put them in a playlist so other people can see them as well. We'll have it on our YouTube channel. And yeah, it's just like a fun new thing that we've been wanting to do. I mean, we've done some contests in the past, but with the creator challenges, we want them to be kind of different each time, different themes and stuff like that to involve the community to, participate in some of these either like scoring challenges, or we have some other ideas for some things we want to do coming up too. So yeah, it's been pretty cool seeing the entries so far.
Yeah, and tell the people when the deadline is.
So the deadline is October 31st. That's when you have to enter it before midnight, or if it's around that time, man, just try to get it in before the 31st. And we're going to be announcing the winner on November 7th. Have an opportunity to win $250 in store credit for the first prize winner, and then there's going to be 2 runners up for $50 store credit. So yeah,
Get some new toys.
yeah, get some new Soundiron toys. We also have a Halloween sale going on right now too, so a lot going on.
Have you seen Kontakt 7 and have you played with it yet?
Not yet. I'm planning to get a copy.
I've done 2 little videos on the new features in Kontakt 7. One of the big ones is importing non-player libraries. Everyone likes having that cute little libraries tab. And once you turn into a Kontakt Power user, you realize that the quick load is where it's at. But Kontakt 7 has changed a few things, and you can now import non-player libraries into the Kontakt 7 search pane. And so that changes a lot of things. And I did a video showing how to add tags and add art. And there's also some workarounds on if you want to add previews, audio previews, and things like that. But basically, once you get everything imported, you can have this massive amount of presets that are all easily searchable, and it really helps you navigate the Kontakt 7 ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing that they've done.
They kind of mixed Complete Control software and Kontakt. It's kind of like a little baby version of both of them.
Yeah, yeah, we got to see a little bit of that before, and that was my first thought too. It's very Complete Control sort of layout, but kind of blending it. But yeah, I mean, it looks nice, and that's a really cool thing now that people can bring all that stuff together. But yeah, quick load, that's that's the thing. Almost, it could be almost quicker depending on how you organize where
Right.
everything is, because even then you still got to go in and search. Like the only thing, like quick load would have been cool if it did have like a search, so you could just
Oh,
like
yeah.
start typing in a library and just like
Agreed.
but if not, then you just have to be very careful about how you organize things just to make it easier, whether you're organizing it by categories or by developer and then categories. I learned a lot about this when I was hanging out with Dirk Alert, which we've had on the podcast, Soundiron OG.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he's very big on that. He actually has a couple templates that are quick load templates that he's made. So he's all about that kind of stuff.
Okay. The next thing is Flowful. And Flowful is AI generated music. So I've been talking to you about the AI revolution that everyone's so excited about. And this is flowful.app. And it says enter a flow state in minutes using procedurally generated ambient music, unlimited free listening. So no one wrote this music. An AI wrote it. And there's like classical genre, there's electronica, there's atmospheric, and it just generates unlimited amounts of this kind of vibe, almost like coffee shop playlists or something like that, where it never ends. But this literally will never end. That just keeps kind of adding and removing pieces, and no one is pushing buttons behind it. It is a computer.
Interesting. I wonder if there's people just listening to it and like recording it and then like trying to like rip it off. There's just like this. Like, is there going to be an AI that comes out there and says, "Hey, remember on that stream that I did? You stole all my ideas, you bastard.
Well, that is the interesting thing about it, right? Because there's no copyright and there's no royalties being paid. The composer isn't making music and isn't being paid for their music, and there's no like lawsuits or anything like that going on.
Yeah, the lawsuits are going to happen from people who steal from the AI, and then someone steals from that person who stole from the AI because they're going to be mad that someone else stole their stealing of the AI. It's gonna, oh man.
Sounds like a mess.
Yeah, it sounds like a big legal mess. No, but that's pretty cool. Especially if you're just like not knowing what to listen to. Let's
Yeah.
say like you have your Spotify playlist that you always listen to, or like Apple Music or whatever. And you're just like, how many times can I listen to that Tina Turner playlist? Got to switch it up. That's
This
where
one obviously has no vocals, no singing or
it's all
words. It's just
instruments.
all instrumental, and it's pretty sparse, to be honest with you. I listened to some of it. It's not that it's bad. It's just there's not a lot of complexity to it at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. I would think yeah, it's not like busting out a bunch of like Rachmaninoff like classical pieces or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's pretty interesting, especially yeah, if you're just wanting to throw something on and while you're just working. Like, do you ever sometimes I would listen to those like relaxing playlists that are just like streaming 24/7 on YouTube, and they'll just have these like like repeated visuals of like trees, and it's very like relaxing. You ever listen to those? Like some, or it's like kind of like good for, just having something on in the background while you're working, because it's just very just looped and
Uh-huh. I really
yeah.
like the chill hop playlists.
Yeah.
That's my vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next topic we've got is hardware companies making plugins. So, is this a good idea? And before you answer, we have an example of Noise Engineering, who is famous for making Eurorack modules and shipping hardware to people. They made a bunch of synth plugins, and some of them are free, and they're good. They're good synth plugins.
Mhm.
But when you release a free, it's a free plugin, trade for an email address, to someone like me who has never bought a Eurorack and has no plans to get into Eurorack, is that a good idea as a hardware company? And I'm not sure if it is, because you have all these people on your email list who will never buy a hardware product from you.
Maybe.
A different example is Big Sky from Strymon, very famous reverb that everyone has on their pedal boards or studio walls or whatever. And they just released the plug-in version of Big Sky.
Hmm.
And it is $200 for the reverb plugin, which is significantly cheaper than the pedal. So tell me your thoughts about that, hardware or software.
Oh man. I mean, there's always that age old debate, but I think a lot of people are, even if they own that pedal, are gonna buy that plugin, because now you can have some Big Sky on every track and
Yeah.
all have different settings, and you don't have to go and like commit audio and all that stuff. Like just the portability, even if the sounds are like pretty close, even if
Mm-hmm.
like some people are gonna say like, oh no, I mean it's close, but it's not the real thing, man. Like whatever,
The
you
A/B
know?
tests.
Yeah, like, I mean, shoot, like if it sounds even like pretty close, even like if doing like a blind test and you're like, man, that sounds pretty spot on, like that already is a win, especially if you like that reverb. So I haven't been like super excited about plugins too much these days. Like every now and again, I'll see something that kind of catches my eye. I know you're usually on the hunt. You do a lot of sound design stuff, so you're always on the hunt for some new plugs. But I saw that one and I immediately hit you up because I was like, "Oh,
Right. Strymon entering the plugin game.
yeah, they just came in swinging." They're like, "Let's go." But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really neat because yeah, I've always heard about that reverb. I've never actually had the chance to play it, but I'm sure I've heard it a million times on different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like really quick to wanting to get that in my hand. So I do have it, planning on doing some experimenting of my own with it.
That's what's up, man. So I went down the rabbit hole of ad copy and text based AI. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about image based AI. And now I've been looking at more ad copy and text based AI. And so the first one is called Lex. And Lex is an extension that anytime you get stuck when you're writing a blog post, you just press plus plus plus, and this AI reads what you've written so far and then generates more ad copy or writing based on what you've already said. Some of it's great, some of it's not, but you basically have an assistant editor or a secondary writer who is sitting beside you, helping you out. And then you can also go up to the title of whatever you're doing and you can ask it to generate more titles for you. So this guy is giving an example, like a product demo, and his title is Why Product Positioning Matters. And he asked this AI, Lex, to generate more title options. And so one of them is Why Product Positioning is Essential for Success, How to Position Your Product for Maximum Impact, The Secret to Successful Product Positioning, etc. So that was 3 different ones. Wow. And you can just keep generating new titles. So if you were writing a blog post and you were having trouble coming up with a title, you can just give it to this thing. It will skim through your entire post and then it'll crank out title options.
It'll just hit you with a bunch of clickbait.
Boom. Yeah, it's perfect for clickbait.
The secret, what was it? Positioning products or the secret or something?
Yeah,
it's like
the
you throw
secret.
that word in there, you're trying.
Right, you're ready to roll.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. So when you have it write additional stuff, does it change anything you did before or just completely
Nope.
adds after?
No, it's just a whole new block of text.
Interesting. And then you just delete it if you don't like it, do it again.
Yep.
Damn. Just have this thing write a book for me, like how to not get attacked by bears, and just keep hitting plus 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 plus, and then write a whole survival book.
So that was a crazy thing is there's a brand called Holo, Write Holo, and it says use AI to write your next novel.
Wow.
And organize your thoughts into incredible compositions with a few clicks. It's built for anyone writing anything. And so you can see an example of a princess adventure. So you write the first paragraph and then you say generate, and it gives you 2 options. One is she liked something, blah, blah, blah. The other one is her father didn't want his daughter exploring, blah, blah, blah. And you can go in 2 different directions. It's like pick your own adventure kind of thing. But to me, that one is like sucking the creativity out a little bit of your novel, but I guess it's just using creativity in a different way.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I mean, kind of similar to, I guess, if you had like you're in a room with someone and you're like, oh, like we're writing this story or whatever.
Right.
And you're just kind of like bouncing ideas back and forth. Like maybe that AI thing might generate some new ideas for you. Like, oh, like that's an interesting take. Oh yeah. And then what if blah, 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 blah.
That's true. A board to bounce ideas off of. Yeah.
Yeah. A jump to conclusions, Matt. No. It's a map that you jump to conclusion. Office Space joke. So yeah, I could see that being cool, but I don't know. I think if you're even like slightly old school, it just feels kind of like,
Yeah, you were kind of raising an eyebrow a little bit.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, the thing for the ad copy seems pretty interesting because it's just kind of like you have the thing that you're already promoting or that
Yeah.
you're wanting to like write ad copy for, and it's just kind of like is Grammarly cheating or anything? It's like things that kind of like, hey, this is cool, but what if you did it like this? It's more of like
Right.
like a suggestion thing versus like having it completely do it for you. I mean, I could see if you're trying to use it just for getting inspiration or like getting some ideas or, just a way to kind of like shift your thinking when you're feeling a little stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think there's no reason in using AI stuff in conjunction with like what you normally do.
Yeah.
I think if you're just trying to like completely just use it like, oh, I'm going to use all this AI stuff to get rich. Like that's kind of you want to have a little bit of pride in what you do, I think.
Sure. Okay, so the next 2 are Jasper.ai and copy.ai. And both of these projects do similar things, which is generate ad copy based on a small description you make. So you just put in what your product's called, you describe the product, and then you choose a tone. You can choose friendly, adventurous, luxury, relaxed, etc. and you say create content. And then it gives you different chunks of text based on what you described. So I put in David Oliver's drum kit. This first one says, brilliantly recorded. The David Oliver's drum kit is a 1980s pearl red deluxe kit with a custom snare and kick drum. An extremely versatile drum kit handpicked and performed by British media composer David Oliver. We put this kit through its paces, sampling with different stick types for maximum scope of expressive drumming techniques from ultra loud to ultra soft. And it stole a lot of the ad copy that I put in there and reworded a few things, but it basically simplifies it and makes it super tight. And then you can just, if you don't like that, you can go to persuasive and you can say create content. And then you can take a look at the new generations. So I have 5 different gens. And if you like one of them, you can say add more like this. So this is David Oliver's drum kit is the most realistic, deeply sampled kit in terms of tone and response. With a single mic position, you can quickly dial in your own perfect drum kit and be on your way to your best sound yet.
Oh, that's pretty persuasive.
You're sold?
Yes.
Nice. So this is the kind of stuff that is really interesting to me and just adding new tools to the arsenal ready to roll. The next one that is super interesting is called Runway. And this is runwayml.com. And it is a cloud-based video editor. So you upload a video into this site and then you can edit from your browser. And it uses AI to do composites. So you can like separate the subject from the background really easily. And it's super smart. And then you could export your subject by itself. And I'll actually have to send you this because I think you might want to play with it. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. I wonder if they have it where you can hit like a blooper button and it just like compiles all of the worst takes and plays it back to you. It's like so you could put little blooper reels at the end. Just
Right.
like finds all like the little mess ups.
What I want is something that can like scan and clean up a podcast episode and like cut out silence really easily and basically just like smartly chop things or help edit the video faster. The next 2 that are very interesting are called Smashing Logo and Brandmark. So these are 2 different brands that are doing similar things. They are logo generation AI. So you tell them your brand name and your slogan if you have one, and then you pick a few colors you like and maybe like the vibe or a few adjectives about your company, and it will give you 20 different brand logos. So it'll give you, I did Soundiron just to see what we were working with, and it generated several different kind of cool, trendy looking brands, logos, and you can just kind of scroll through. And if you don't like any of them, you can generate a bunch more. And then if you love one of them, you can go to checkout and you can buy that specific logo with the copyright and everything included for one of them was $25 and another one was $100. So super reasonable prices, and you can be on your way to starting your next massive company.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, like it really does have repercussions for freelancers.
Yeah, that's where I could see certain things, but it's like as every day passes, things are moving faster and faster, and the thing is, it's like all that stuff takes creative time and energy, and people nowadays, probably don't feel like they have time to sit and like wait for an artist to create something like that. It's just like, hey, we could just go on here, ba 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 ba, bada bing, bada boom. All right, I like it, fund it, get the copyright. Let's start making some money. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And I think as a freelancer, like a contractor, you could use tools like this to help you kind of get a starting point. Or if you're working with like a bigger brand and they're not going to go buy a $25 logo, they want a custom designed thing from a human being. You could just start with these and you could kind of touch them up, remodel them a little bit, and send them 5 and say, what do you think about these?
Now that is using the system against them. So that's an interesting thing because let's say you send them 5 things. Oh, cool, we like that. Let's go with that. You as the person who's, the freelancer or whatever, you could say, "Oh, I'll charge you $600 for it."
Uh-huh.
And you pay for it. Or they like that, you pay $100, and you're flipping it for however much, you know?
Right? Just digital arbitrage right there.
I'm just giving out some real trash advice right now.
Illegal life pro tips right there.
Yeah, yeah. Things you shouldn't do when you're a creative. The 5 secrets to do things you shouldn't do, don't do it.
Step 1 is buy my ebook.
Yeah, well, buy my ebook. It's in the description below. No, I was kidding.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. We covered AI music, AI video editing,
Mhm,
AI brand generation, logo generation, AI ad copy, and novel writing. That brings me to my last section, which is 10 copywriting tips. And I don't actually know if I have a full 10, but I found a video that I really liked from HubSpot. And he said step 1 is you always want to optimize your SEO, keywords, and secondary keywords. And like a true marketer who's writing blog posts or ad copy or whatever wants to start with the keywords and work backwards from there.
mhm,
And he said one of the tips that people use is if you scroll down to the bottom of Google, it says people also ask, and it has like various questions that people are searching, and
mhm,
he'll use keywords from those questions as well. Then he talks about split testing phrasing with free headline analysis tools. So we talked about that headline generation or the subject generation
mhm,
tool where you can just gen like 10 or 20 different headline ideas, and then you could pick what you think is the best one. He talks about the app method, which is agree, promise, and preview. So you're agreeing with the customer that there's a problem with however the market is, and then you're promising to deliver a solution to their problem, and then you're giving them a preview of how you're going to do it. That's something we can definitely consider focusing on a little bit more at Soundiron, is making sure that every piece of those is in place. So the preview part is showing off a video, the demos, the user manual, things like showing them what the product is and
mhm.
what kind of problems it solves.
Yeah.
And then the last thing on this is F-shaped copywriting. So this guy says that people skim in an F shape. So they'll read like the top part, and then they'll go back and they'll scroll down some, and then they'll scroll back up a little bit, and they'll do the little part of the F, and then they'll keep
Mhm,
scrolling. And so you can actually plan out your blog post or your social media posts or anything that's a little bit more long form. You can plan out, okay, people are going to be skimming in an F shape. And so we want to make good headlines and good like secondary headlines and make sure that we kind of point their attention to the exact spots of the
mhm.
F.
That's interesting.
Good old copywriting. The reason that like talking about copywriting is everything is sales. So if you're trying to be a composer and you're trying to pick up clients, you are selling them your services. And every email that you send them is a part of the sale.
Mhm.
And if you're sending them a text that's like unprofessional, that is probably hurting your sale.
Yeah.
Your salesmanship is going down in that case.
Yeah, like, and Catherine Dern was saying, even little things like getting the name right, how you
Oh yeah,
spell it.
spelling your name right, totally.
Like that is such a you would not think that would, like me, I'm one of those people, I tend to like triple check stuff sometimes because I get a little, sometimes if I'm doing something real quick, like I'll send it to you and you'll catch it. But like for the most part, like if I know this is like something I'm sending out, like this
Yeah.
is going out now, like I will be very start like reading reading it a little bit slower, like not because it's easy to just kind of, just kind of.
You're meticulous when you're about to send it to a bunch of people.
Yeah, and if you're trying to get work, you should be meticulous too, because like one, if you're getting something wrong, like a name, you're probably not going to get the job because they're going to be like, well, if you can't even get my name right, how are you going to do the job right?
That's
So
100% true.
yeah, so don't do that. That's just, But yeah, like I know I mentioned Zach Heidi on the last podcast. He's a composer. He's got a really cool YouTube channel, but he did a video talking about like cold emailing, and
Hmm.
he was actually going back on like old emails that he sent that had like no success and ones that did, and kind of like how his progression has evolved, and how he would try to get work as a composer.
That's
I thought that
awesome.
was I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because it's not just like, here's 5 things you need to do, buy my ebook, and I'll tell you all the tricks and secrets on how to get the gig. But yeah, I think that was cool that he used, real world examples where he was like, I sent this out, I got a response or I didn't, and this is what I tried to change. Because it's almost, just like any sort of creative thing, like it's like trying to like solve like not like a puzzle, but like how you structure things, like where you ask the question or what you say first, or like instead of saying this, like like when we talk about like cold emailing people before, or like the whole networking thing, and like if you just come out guns blazing, hey, I need work, like that's not the best way to do it. It's like if you're trying to ask a girl out on a date, you don't go up and say, hey, I'm hot,
Right.
let's go on that's not like, you got to work on your approach, say hi, like maybe you don't. I'm not trying to offer dating services here, but you know what I mean? It's just like you can't just have that shotgun approach,
Yeah.
you
You
know?
gotta have some tact. You gotta work
Yeah.
on work on that success rate.
Yeah. Don't just jump out. Hey, how about a job?
What if the business card is like super slick though?
Oh, like if it's in bone.
Bone.
Oh, have you ever seen American Psycho?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's my new business card. The color's bone.
That joke
But
slapped. You just had to explain it to me.
well, I had to explain it for anyone who's listening and you haven't seen American Psycho. What's wrong with you? Stop the podcast, go watch it, come back. We'll still be here. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a pretty good Halloween movie.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone who likes Huey Lewis in the news and wants to see someone get murdered to it.
It's definitely horror.
I heard he was actually really upset about them using that song in that piece or something, or in that scene or something. I think like,
Mr.
even though,
Lewis?
yeah, because
Dang.
it's like, you're hearing hip to be square,
Yeah.
and you're seeing some dude just get slaughtered.
Right.
Like maybe they're like, hey, we want to use your music in this movie. Oh yeah, cool, thanks. Cha-ching, exchange of currency, and then he's watching it, probably thinking they're going to be in like some dance club or something, and then you're just seeing some dude just get hacked up. Like, oh,
Dang. That would be upsetting if you weren't
yeah,
expecting it.
yeah, because you're thinking hip to be square, and now you're always just going to imagine that.
He's like, I'll never forgive you, Christian Bale.
Yeah, how dare you? He's like, I didn't do that. I'm just the actor.
Okay, so I think that covers everything. We got the Soundiron Creator Challenge. We got a whole bunch of AI tools. Most of these are free to try at the very least, so you should go try them. This is the new world we're living in, and that moves us on to the recommendations section. So I would say for me, recommendation would be BigSky Reverb plugin. There's a free 7-day trial. You can try it out. I'm planning on doing a BigSky Reverb with Soundiron Instruments video this week. So you'll be able to hear some vocals and piano and drums, but you can try it for yourself.
Yeah. Damn, you stole my recommendation. I was going to recommend the same thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's cool that there's a trial for it, and it's like everyone's looking for reverbs.
100%. Well, you can recommend this composer guy on YouTube that you were talking about because
Oh,
I
yeah.
I have not watched any of his videos.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
His name's Zach
Heidi.
Heidi.
It looks like Haiti, but it's Heidi.
Okay. The new artist that I'm listening to a lot is Olivia Dean. She is a British singer-songwriter, and she's kind of doing like a soul poppy vibe, and she's really, really good. So
Yeah.
if you like just kind of laid back music with brass and good chords, neo soul kind of stuff, Olivia Dean is the ticket.
Nice. I always like hearing some new chill stuff. Like there's this girl that my girlfriend told me about. It's like pretty chill stuff. Way Blood. That's the name of the band.
Weyes Blood.
It almost sounds very like a modern day The Carpenters. Like she has
Yeah.
that kind of voice, but the music's a little bit more kind of, not just like piano and band. It's like a little bit more like some electronic stuff, but it's pretty cool. Don't worry, it's not going to be blast beats and death metal girls.
Okay. I would say the final thing, if you're still listening to this podcast, is go download the contest video and go write something and then post it. Just do it by the deadline.
Yeah, just use it as a, if you're trying to be an aspiring composer, use it as practice,
Mhm.
and it's fun. And you get to, see what other people are doing, and you get to participate. Being involved in the community is always good, and it's good practice. And you
Good.
might win something. Might win some awesome store credit, man.
Store credit. All right. We will continue on this journey. We will hopefully talk about something besides AI next week. But Craig, I will catch you next week, my friend.
Yeah.
See you. Peace.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.